Hello there and welcome to the Neuse News Sports Show. My name is Bryan Hanks. I am your co-host for this little, I don't know, would you call it a joyride?
You know what? You've been calling it that the whole season. You might as well keep it going.
Probably the hospital that is now the Neuse News Sports Show. From what I understand, everybody is sick here. You're sick. I just came from the doctor to come here to come do this show. We're just all sick this week, aren't we?
Like I went to the doctor for the first time in God knows how long yesterday just to make sure I didn't have the flu. Thankfully I don't, but it's still a cold.
Okay, but is it going to be a boy or a girl?
Man.
Very good. His name is Junius Smith III, my good friend over here, and the heart and blood and everything of Neuse News. Thank you so much for joining Junius and I here on the show. What we do here every week is we give you a chance to know what games are going to be taking place this week here in our neck of the woods, high school football, that is. We take a look back at last week's games. We get his expert analysis on all the games, and then we will what's that?
I'm not going to say expert analysis.
Well, we get his expert picks.
You know what? I'm about to walk off this.
Don't walk off. Don't walk off. Travis, I'm trying not to get him to walk off, okay? But we'll get to that. We're going to get to the picks here in a little bit. But we take a look back at last week's games. We get you ready for all the football games that are going to be taking place in our area this week. And we are so happy that you decided to join us here on the show today. Please share this broadcast. You're watching this here on Facebook. Share it. Let your friends know that you're watching it. And especially go visit our sponsors and tell them that you heard about this on the Neuse News Sports Show. And our first sponsor that we really want to throw some love to, our good friends over at Lenoir Community College, Junius Smith III. Did you know that Lenoir Community College's Quick Jobs program provides training so you can get to work? I mean, you never work, so yeah,
I know.
right.
I'm a slacker, right?
Yeah, right. You're the hardest working man that I know of. But you can get to work in less than 6 months if you visit Lenoir Community College's Quick Jobs program.
Well, Bryan Hanks, because LCC partners with area employers, you can not only find a job, but a new lifelong career.
Absolutely. Jobs currently in demand include heating, ventilation and air conditioning, electrical wiring, energy distribution systems, manufacturing, truck driver training, and welding, Junius Smith III.
Listen, if your pockets are light like mine, tuition assistance may be available as well as nationally recognized credentials.
It's a new year and a new you, Junius Smith III. Let LCC empower you to get the job and the career you've always hoped for.
Well, listen here, Bryan Hanks. If you want to learn more about Quick Jobs, all you have to do is call 252-527-6223, extension 714.
Wait a minute, what was that number again?
252-527-6223, extension 714, or enroll at lenoircc.edu/quickjobs.
And when you get through doing that, visit our good friends over at KC Crop Insurance. They are here to serve all of your crop insurance needs, Junius Smith III, with more than 50 years of combined experience. They take pride in excellent customer service.
As do we. So give the KC Crop Insurance Service team a call at 252-522-9613.
What's that number again?
That number, Bryan Hanks, is 252-522-9613, and tell them the Neuse News sent you.
Absolutely. And then last but not least, if you have not subscribed to the Neuse newsletter yet, what the heck's wrong with you?
We don't know. We haven't figured it out. And you know what? I think we might need some psychiatric evaluation or something.
Absolutely. Listen, you want to subscribe to it because you want to read the 96 stories that Junius Smith III has up on the site in just the last 3 days, right? Is that about right? 95, 96, something like that?
I don't think anybody's reading 96 stories in 3. But all you have to do is go to neusenews.com, hit that subscribe button up top, and you get a free email at 7 a.m. with all the headlines locally right here in town.
Absolutely. So please, again, when you visit Lenoir Community College, you tell Richie Honeycutt that you saw this. You tell Dr. Hunt that you saw us talk about LCC, and same thing with KC Crop Insurance. So let's take a look back at last Friday's games. We had 5 games here. I'm going to throw them over to you, each one as we go, and you just give your quick hit analysis. The game of the week last week, well, there were 2 really big games, but I'm just going to preface what I'm getting ready to say with North Lenoir is for real. And if you doubted that North Lenoir was for real, there's something wrong with you, because the Hawks, Hawk Time, Jim Collins, everybody over there, this is a heck of a football program. They defeat West Craven for the first time since 1997 last week. They improved to 7-1 for the first time since 2003. And it's only the third time ever that they have won 7 games in one season in the 56-year history of the program as they defeat West Craven 20-10. And Junius, I mean, there's no doubt now this program is for real, isn't it?
You know what? I need to go ahead and give an apology to everybody out there in the Wheat Swamp area, LaGrange, that entire place, North Lenoir, Jim Collins, everybody. You know, even though the team was 6-1 coming into this game, I still had my doubts. You know, you look at the non-conference schedule, there were a lot of close games and everything. And then as time went on, it's just like, okay, wait until they play somebody. And then when the Washington game occurred, you know, it was kind of, okay, you know what, I don't know. This game right here certified everything that I needed to know about North Lenoir, about the resolve of the kids, the resolve of the program, the school, everything. So I just want to go ahead and give my apology. Listen, I'm the type of person, if I make a mistake, I will sit back and own up to it. So I made a mistake, and they did a tremendous job in defeating West Craven.
And I'm telling you, it's just amazing what he has done, and not just Coach Collins and his coaching staff and all those players and everything. I mean, we are talking real history, not just, well, you know, for the first time since 2011 or something like that.
Right.
In 56 years of the North Lenoir football program, they've won 7 games. Before this year, only twice. In 1964 and in 2003. They have won 7 games. There's still 2 games left in their regular season.
No, they've got 3 games.
3 games left. Thank you. 3 games left in their regular season. And then playoffs. So who knows what this program can do. So congratulations to them up there. And here's what I wanted to say, too. What's crazy is I picked them to finish 4th in the conference. And, you know, everybody's patting me on the back. And they're like, well, for starters, you're crazy, Hanks, for picking them 4th. I may have picked them too low. Think about that. When you and we did this show in Ayden for the Eastern Carolina 2A coaches meeting, all the way back in August, the coaches, there wasn't a coach that picked North Lenoir above 7th place in the conference.
I think there might have been.
Maybe there was one. You're right.
Maybe one.
But they picked them 6th in the conference.
Right.
Nobody, and I'm telling you, nobody outside of that locker room and that coaching staff thought they were going to be this good. I thought they had the potential to be 4th, but again, I picked them too low. I mean, congratulations to those folks up in Wheat Swamp.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I went with the coaches. Like, I picked them 7th.
Yeah, well, there you go. But, hey, congratulations to North Lenoir. They deserve this. It's their time, and we'll be talking about their big game that's coming up this Friday night. They travel to Ayden-Grifton, and a really good chance for them to really make some more history that they can potentially do. Another big game that was in our neck of the woods last Friday was a game both you and I attended, and we had a lot of fun there. Kinston and Green Central. Kinston defeated Green Central 21-0 at Viking Field. But, Junius, it was a 0-0 game at halftime, only 32 yards, according to those certified Junius Smith III stats. Only 32 yards of offense for the Vikings in the first half, but they really came together in the second half, didn't they?
I think it was 36 yards, but whatever the case, it was just rough to watch in the first half for both teams.
Yeah.
I think Green Central had their opportunities, but they couldn't cash in. And then the second half, it was Caleb Gooding and Will London, who were actually the first co-Neuse News athletes of the week. So they each had big games, particularly Caleb Gooding stepping in front of because of Demetri Holmes getting hurt. He came in and played absolutely phenomenal. Will London had several great plays, and defensively, Green Central was held to 11 yards offensively.
That is crazy. But what a great job that they did over there, and they needed that if they wanted to even sniff an opportunity. And they still do. They have a chance to win the Eastern Carolina 2A. Some things have to fall their way.
Right.
But what would be awesome is it makes that Kinston North Lenoir game just that much better. When is that? That's next week, right?
It is next week. Kinston has a bye this week, and next week they got North Lenoir.
I am so excited about that. So let's burn through these last 3 games real quick and get to this interview. I should have told everybody when we got started. Have a really cool interview with Ayden-Grifton head football coach Paul Cornwell, in which I get we'll talk. I'll preview that in just a moment. Really quick, Ayden-Grifton traveled a deep run. They defeated the Blue Devils 53-8.
Ayden-Grifton starting to get a few of their players back, particularly Michael Webb. I believe he had 4 touchdowns in that game, and I think they need that one for a confidence boost. Parrott
defeated Fayetteville Christian 28-0, and in the process secured their first Carolinas Conference championship. since 2005. They've won 2 state championships since then, but their first conference title since 2005.
And it blows my mind because, besides the 2 state titles, they've been to 4 straight state championships. And yet, this is their first time winning a title. But then again, they've also had great teams in their league, such as St. David's and Rocky Mount Academy. So you have to kind of throw that in consideration as well.
You know what that tells me, though, about that program? We'll probably talk about when we preview their game here in a second. To me, that tells me what kind of coaching they have there, Junie. Is that the team, they're maybe not the best they can be at the beginning of the season, but those coaches, they coach them up. So by the time they get to the conference or to the state championship, they're ready to win. Would you agree with that?
And that's all you need. When you have the opportunity to actually play a team and then have the time to break down the film and know exactly what the team's strengths and weaknesses are, you're better prepared for it.
Last game in our neck of the woods last week was Bethel. Was Bethel traveled up to Belhaven. They defeated Pungo Christian 60-8, and in the process forged a 3-way tie for first place in Division II. They ended up Saturday drawing the 2nd seed in state playoffs, and they start the state playoffs this week.
Right. And this is a game they beat on Pungo earlier this season, 64-0. This is a team they've got everybody back now from what happened out there at Wayne Christian. So they're going to be focused and they're going to be ready.
Very good. So let's go ahead and segue into this interview that I did with Ayden-Grifton Academy, Ayden-Grifton High School head football coach Paul Cornwell. And I tell you what's neat, and I think you're really going to like this, Junius. We had a chance not just to talk about the big game against North Lenoir this week. We talked about he's the East-West head football coach this coming June. Had a chance to talk about that. About his weight loss. You got to remember, I don't see him as often as you see him, so I get to see him a couple of times a year. And he used to be a big man, weighed about 370 pounds, and, he went on this weight loss thing, had surgery, and looks great. I mean, he looks great. He talks a little bit about that during this interview, and then he talks about the great job North Lenoir did. So please enjoy this interview, and then Junius and I will be back after that to give you our picks and to tell you about all the games that are going to be taking place this Friday night.
You're excited.
I'm very excited. Welcome back to the Neuse News Sports Show. Bryan Hanks down here at Ayden-Grifton High School with Paul Cornwell, the head football coach of the Chargers. Ayden-Grifton this week takes on North Lenoir in a very big Eastern Carolina 2A game. And, Coach, before we get started, you started the season 4-0 this year, had a couple of setbacks, got a little healthy last week against South Lenoir, but since this is the first chance we've had to sit down and talk to each other this year, Coach, just how has the season been so far to this point as you enter Friday night's game with a 5-2 record?
Well, we started off 4-0 and we're playing really well, and we had an open date, and we felt like that was going to give us an opportunity to get as healthy as we could be and going into conference, and it just didn't work out that way. We wound up having a rash of injuries, but we've had a lot of young guys have to step up and get an opportunity to play, and then they're getting better, and some of our other guys are starting to get healthy, so we're getting those guys back, and so we're hoping that over the next few weeks that we can put some things together and make a little bit of a run to finish the regular season strong and get a playoff spot.
We're going to be talking about North Lenoir here in a few minutes, but Coach, one of those things that people probably read about this summer, but they've probably forgotten because you know how short our attention spans are. But you were named the East-West head football coach back in June by the North Carolina Coaches Association. How proud were you of that when that news came down?
I was very excited. Obviously it's something you always want to do, but I wasn't expecting it. And, I knew that I was a nominee, but I also knew there were probably 25 or 30 other coaches that were on that list. So I really didn't. I was just an assistant 3 years ago. So I was not anticipating that selection, but was, absolutely thrilled that I got that opportunity and certainly accepted it.
I think the average person wouldn't think, well, you're named that, and then you just head to Greensboro next June and you start your work then. I mean, this is a process that really, as soon as you were named the coach, it started at that point, didn't it?
That's right. Yeah, well, as soon as I was named the head coach, I knew that for about a week or two before they announced the staff, and so I didn't know who the assistants were. Similar process for that. I had nothing to do with the choosing of assistants or anything. So once that list was put out there, I was able to contact those coaches and congratulate them on their selection and then start the process of who how we're going to break up the staff, and then there's the selection of the teams and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, at this point, we haven't done a lot with it, but we are planning here in the next month to probably really get that ball rolling, get the staff together. And but I have had contact with all the coaches.
How neat was it to find out, like you said, you didn't get to choose the coaches, but just right up the road a little bit, Ryan Diesel Gieselman is one of your assistants.
Yeah, I was really excited about that. Coach Gieselman and I are good friends, and we have a lot of the same philosophies. So I think we're both excited to get a chance to coach with each other instead of just against each other all the time. But I talked with him before a few times, and he's very open to doing whatever. He's going to be, I'm sure, he'll be a great addition to the staff. And the one thing about it, when you're in these events, you get an opportunity to learn from other coaches. So I'm excited to learn from him and some of the things that he does. And no trade secrets, obviously.
Yeah.
But everybody does things differently. So I'm excited about that, and I think we're going to have a great time.
Now, we're still talking about the East-West game. How busy has your phone been from coaches calling you, lobbying for their players, and how busy do you anticipate it being over the next couple of months?
Not a lot of phone calls yet. We've played against a couple teams that maybe have mentioned players that I've seen, and there are some very good players in the area that would certainly deserve an opportunity. The coaches have to nominate those players. They can go on the website, North Carolina Coaches Association website, and go through the process to nominate players. I think you can nominate as many players as you want, but there can't be more than 2 from one team.
Okay.
Like if you want to nominate your entire team, you can do that, but only two can go. So when I coached in the game as an assistant, I didn't have anybody I nominated some kids from Ayden-Grifton but weren't selected, but we had 2 from Kinston and 2 from Green Central in that game, and I had a couple from Rose and 1 from Comley. So I got a chance to coach some local guys, and they were all great kids, obviously coming from quality programs. Well-mannered, and which makes the process even more fun. So I'm sure that's going to pick up steam as we get moving further, and the coaches, we start deciding what kind of things we want to try to do on each side of the ball. That will dictate maybe some of the selection process, but the coaches will select, will work, they will be a part of the process of, the whole staff will be a part of the process of selecting the team.
If people haven't seen you in a while, and I don't get to see you but about a couple of times a year, you have just had a massive transformation. I mean, and I'm just going to let you talk about that. You've lost a lot of weight. You look amazing, sir.
Thank you.
How has that happened?
Well, probably about 2 years ago, I started a process to do weight loss surgery, and I had some friends that had done it, and I was skeptical. I just wasn't sure, but I started the process, and as I got more invested in the process, I felt more comfortable with it, and it's probably the best thing I've ever done for myself. I have a tendency to not do a lot of things good for myself, so I try to take care of everybody else most of the time. But it was really good for me, and I lost 130 pounds. And I'm now probably down 120 pounds. So I feel great. It's like I said, it's definitely the best thing I've ever done for me. And I've maintained my weight now for 1.5 years. And it's a process. I mean, it's not a quick fix. I think a lot of people think it is, but it's hard. It's major surgery, but it's well worth it if you're in that situation. I would recommend you at least looking into it if anybody was to have those. They're not sure about those kind of things, and they want to have a healthier lifestyle. And because people assume when you're bigger that you can just make some changes, and it's not always that case. That it's a large commitment. So I'm really happy I did it.
Let's get to the subject at hand. North Lenoir having the best season in their 56-year school history at this point, Coach. Coming into your home on Friday night, Coach. Is this the best North Lenoir team you've seen in the time since you've been head coach here at Ayden-Grifton?
They've had a couple good ones since we played them. I thought Coach Brown had his last year or so over there. They had really good teams as well. But I think that Coach Collins has done a great job over there. I think in the off season and the commitment that has been made to the program and his players, and it's definitely showing on the field. And I've seen them on film a few times this year. We had some common opponents, and you can just see the growth in their confidence, their belief in what they're doing, their consistency. So it's not an accident. You don't go out and win in our conference. You don't go out and win football games by accident. So I think our league is as tough as anybody. So I think they're certainly doing a great job. They're for real, and we're going to have our hands full.
We'll just go ahead and segue perfectly into that, Coach. What has impressed you the most about this team, about the North Lenoir Hawks, and what do you need to do well Friday night to defeat them, Coach?
Well, I think they're very physical. I think their consistency on both sides of the ball is probably what has impressed me the most. And for us, we've got to play well defensively. We can't let them just grind us and keep us off the field. We got to get them off the field. And offensively, we've got to be consistent and not turn the ball over. Try to be balanced as much as we can with different people touching the ball, throwing the ball, doing some things that can keep them off balance. So, it's going to be a battle. I think they'll be ready to play. Obviously, last week they took on a very good West Craven team that beat us, and I thought they really took it to them. And so I think a lot of credit goes to their coaching staff and their players and their community. I think they're really communities where they're rallying around them, and so we expect a good crowd here Friday.
Well, very good. Well, Coach Paul Cornwell, Ayden-Grifton High School, and I say it off the record, I say it on the record, your other fellow coaches say it too, proud to be considered a friend of yours, and proud that you're in our conference, in our neck of the woods, one of the true good guys in the sport. Thank you so much for giving us time today for the Neuse News Sports Show.
Thank you, Bryan. I appreciate it.
Welcome back to the Neuse News Sports Show. Bryan Hanks, Judy Smith III, and listen, as reporters, and you're as professional as a journalist that I know. I mean, you are. But golly, it's hard not to have Paul Cornwell as one of your favorite coaches, isn't it?
Without question. And I really had to sit back and think about some of the coaches that I've been blessed to work with over the years. I mean, Wells Gullidge over at Parrott. Dory Hines, of course, he's a little younger than I am, so, having that. And then, even back home, Westover, George Stackhouse.
Yes. A former Kinston head basketball coach, too.
Yeah, Paul Cornwell is definitely up there.
He is. And again, my 28 years, this is my 28th year. God, I feel so old. My 28th year of covering high school sports in the state of North Carolina. Yes, Travis, I know I'm old. And I got to tell you, he's in my top 5. You and I were talking about while we were watching that interview that I just did with him. And, I mean, he's up there, too. I mean, I think, of course, of Jimmy Smith down at South Lenoir,
right.
One of just the all-time great coaches, just good guys. I'm with you, Wells Gullidge, who I got to coach or who I got to cover when he was at Kinston and at Parrott Academy. Perry Tyndall, who's at Kinston High School. What did I say?
No, I was about to say, did you know that Wells Gullidge can actually freestyle?
I did not. Oh, my gosh. Okay,
Long
that's
story.
something we're going to have happen. We've got to see that. But just everybody, we've been blessed, especially in this neck of the woods, to just have some great, great coaches. I think, his win-loss record may not show, but Jeremy Joyner at South Lenoir, I mean, he's an up-and-comer. He's one of the good guys. And I got to tell you, if people want to know, okay, if you're a prospective coach and you want the reporters to like you, this is all we ask. Whether you win, whether you lose, whether you tie, whether you have a tough game, whether you win by 60, just be the same way the whole time. Don't be the coach that when you lose a game that you don't want to talk to anybody and you're just, you are not a nice person. Be the same person. That's what when I think about somebody like, and the first one immediately comes to mind is Perry Tyndall. If Perry Tyndall has had some tough games.
Oh, yeah.
He has. He's had some. Now, he won 3 state championships, too. But you know what? The beauty of seeing him, I remember when they won the state championships, he's as nice then as he is when he lost to Green Central at home when they were down by 40 at halftime. He was the same person in both those instances. That's the kind of coach you want to be if you want to be a coach, right?
Without question. I mean, now, of course, we understand certain scenarios. For example, I'll never forget my first year. I think it was on Jeremy Joyner's first year at South Lenoir when they had a tough game against North Lenoir where they lost 9-6. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking to myself, this is going to be a tough interview because I know, I can only imagine what's going through Jeremy Joyner's mind. I can only imagine what's going through the players' mind because, honestly, had they beaten North Lenoir, and they should have beaten North Lenoir, to be real, they would have made it to the playoffs.
Wow.
But I remembered, I mean, there were a lot of tears in the eyes of everybody. And, Coach Joyner gave me one of the best interviews that I've had out here. I mean, even though you could tell that he was in pain, he was hurting for the kids and for everything that they had the opportunity to get, particularly, breaking that streak of the Bragging Bowl. And granted, they were able to do that last year, but at that moment, you could tell that this is somebody who truly cares about the kids, about the school, about the community, and ultimately, what he does. And any coach, you have to do nothing but respect that.
Absolutely. Paul Cornwell, again, thank you so much for being a part of this week's Neuse News Sports Show. And again, he started out 0-6 one year. 0-6. They won 7 straight, went to third round in the state playoffs, and guess what? He was the same coach when he was 0-6 than he was when he was in the third round of the state playoffs. We love you, Coach Cornwell, and congratulations on everything you've had happen. So let's take a look at these 5 games that are going to be taking place this week. Kinston is off this week. You mentioned that earlier, but they are going to be off this week. But the games this week are North Lenoir is at Ayden-Grifton. God, what a huge game. What a huge game. We're going to talk about that in a second. Washington is at South Lenoir. Parrott Academy is going to play their last regular season game at Rocky Mount Academy. Northeast Hobgood is at Bethel. It's the first round of the state playoffs for Bethel Christian Academy this year. And then West Craven is at Green Central. But let's go real quick. We got about a minute each to hit these real quick here.
Okay.
So North Lenoir is 7-1 overall. They're 2-1 in the Eastern Carolina 2A. They're at Ayden-Grifton, as we've said. Ayden-Grifton leads this all-time series 20-6. They're 13-3 in league play in a series that is run every year from 71 to 86, from 2001 to 04, and from 2013 until now. Now, AG won last year's game in Ayden, but North Lenoir won the year before that under Kim Brown.
Right, Kim Brown.
Absolutely. So what are you anticipating? We're both going to be there Friday night. Pound it. I can't wait. What are you anticipating Friday night?
This should be a really, really good game. It should be a fun one, too. I mean, Ayden-Grifton, they've won 5 of the last 6 meetings between North Lenoir. However, this is going to be one of those that you really can't tell what can happen.
Very good. I got to tell you, I'm so excited to be there, and for North Lenoir they're going to be chasing history. If they win that game on Friday night, they are going to be they're going to tie the all-time wins record that was set in 2003. So very excited about that. Okay, the next game on our docket, Washington is 6-2 overall. They're 3-0. They're undefeated in the Eastern Carolina 2A. They travel to South Lenoir, who is 2-6, 0-4. We know what happened with South Lenoir last week, but the Pam Pack actually also lost last week too in a non-league game at Greenville-Connolly, 46-39. If South Lenoir wants to have any chance of making the state playoffs, they've only got 2 regular season games left. They've got Friday night's game, and then they play against North Lenoir in 2 weeks. So they have a bye week next. Yeah, they have a bye week next week.
Right.
What are you anticipating in Deep Run?
You know what? I feel like South Lenoir is going to come out very spirited, but that is a Pam Pack team that has taken a lot of punishment over the years. But their JV team has been good for a number of years. They are hungry. They want to win. They want to. Similar to North Lenoir, how, they've got a lot of doubters. Washington had a lot of doubters coming into the season, too.
I had them picked 6th. I had Washington picked 6th in the conference. Look at them now; they're in 1st. So, so our next game in our neck of the woods. Let's talk about Bethel a little bit. Bethel is 4-3 overall. They're hosting Northeast Hobgood, who is 6-1-1. Northeast Hobgood 6-1-1 and got the 3rd seed in the state playoffs. I mean, that is crazy, but it was because of the tiebreaker there. It's the first round of the playoffs. That's going to be a big game, and it's right here in Kinston. So if you can't make it to Ayden-Grifton, if you can't make it to South Lenoir, and you want to see a state playoff game, head over to Bethel Christian Academy Friday night. What are you anticipating there? That 6-1-1, that one
was to Bethel.
Was to Bethel. What do you think?
And you know what? This is a game where everybody's going to be at full strength, and I think it's going to be a shootout. Well, most 8-man games are shootouts, but this is definitely going to be one.
Very good. Parrott Academy wraps up their regular season at Rocky Mount Academy, and in most years, I think this is almost the reason they put this as the last game of the regular season. When Parrott and Rocky Mount Academy meet, it's usually for playoff positioning. It's not on Friday night. Parrott Academy is 6-2. Rocky Mount Academy is 0-8. What has happened to Rocky Mount?
Well, they lost a lot of great players over the past couple of years. One guy that sticks in my mind in particular is Jacob Brady, who absolutely ran roughshod over the Patriots back in the 2017 state championship game.
Yep.
And last year, Parrott started the season at Rocky Mount Academy. Graham and I went out there for our broadcast, and I think it was 6 lost fumbles that APA had in a 58-48 loss. So,
wow.
I think Parrott's going to get a little get back.
I think they are too. And then the final game of our neck of the woods is West Craven. They're 5-3 overall, 3-1 in the conference. They're coming off that loss to North Lenoir. They are in Snow Hill against Jay Wilson and the Green Central Rams, who are 4-4 overall and 1-2 in the conference. And here's a stat that stands out to me, and I hope Jay Wilson has this written up on. Coach Wilson, you need to put this on your blackboard. Green Central is 0-14 all-time against West Craven. They have never beaten West Craven in the history of Green Central High School in a series that began in 1985. What do you think?
I did not know that, first off. Secondly, we talk about South Lenoir. If they want to make it to the playoffs, they need to win this game.
Yeah.
If Green Central wants to make the playoffs, they need to win this game.
Very good. So, Coach Wilson, we've given you some bulletin board material there. Feel free to use it, courtesy of Junior Smith III and Bryan Hanks in the Neuse News Sports Show.
There we go.
Okay, very good. Okay, real quick, I'm hearing in my ear we got to wrap this up. Let's get our picks real quick. Junior Smith III went 3-2 last week. Bryan C. Hanks went 4-1. That means overall for the season, I'm 32-11. Junius is 28-15. And now I saw on social media you said you weren't making picks anymore.
Look, after the North Lenoir and Kinston games, I was like, you know what? I'm tired of being wrong. I'm tired of being that Ryan Hollins type of guy. I'm good. But common sense does not work out for me too well, so I'm making picks this week.
Let's do it. Let's jump right into it. We got 5 games. Real quick, who's your pick? North Lenoir at Ayden-Grifton. Listen, I told Coach Collins, I saw him yesterday. I said, I am not picking against him. I've only done it one time all year, and then they won it last week. So, Coach Collins, North Lenoir, I've got you beating Ayden-Grifton. What does Junior Smith III have to say?
Well, you know what? Just because I didn't want to have the exact same picks with you, and also I want to go ahead and get North Lenoir additional bulletin board material, go ahead, get at me. I'm picking Ayden-Grifton, and I will be at that game Friday. So afterwards, if North Lenoir wins, y'all can go ahead and raise me and whatever.
You know they're going to.
I don't care. Go ahead.
You know they're going to. Real quick, these last games, Washington and South Lenoir. I'm taking Washington.
I'm going with the Pan Pack.
Parrott at Rocky Mount. Parrott
by running clock.
Okay, now this next game is going to be a lot closer. I think the last 2 games are going to be a lot closer than people think. Northeast Hobgood at Bethel. I'm going to take Bethel, but I'm telling you, it's going to be a good game.
Listen, the Trojans have had their pieces back. I'm going to go with Bethel Christian.
Very good. And then the last game is West Craven at Green Central. I'm taking West Craven. But again, Coach Wilson, I think Green Central is going to give him a heck of a fight. I'm thinking it's going to be like a 20-16 kind of game.
I wanted to be that. I hope that Green Central is able to defeat West Craven for the first time in school history, but I got to go with the Eagles on this one.
One more time, let's thank our sponsors for sponsoring us here on the Neuse News Sports Show. Lenoir Community College's Quick Jobs program provides training so you can get to work in less than 6 months.
And because LCC partners with area employers, you can not only find a job, but a new lifelong career.
Absolutely. I know you've always wanted to work in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning because those jobs are currently in demand. And you know what? I'm not even making a joke. They make tons of money. I mean, we're talking like $35, $40 an hour in some places in heating, ventilation, and air. Maybe we need to call them. And, anyway, jobs currently in demand include heating, ventilation, air conditioning, electrical wiring, energy distribution systems, manufacturing, truck driver training, and welding.
Tuition assistance may be available as well as nationally recognized credentials.
It's a new year and a new you. Let LCC empower you to get the job and career you've always hoped for.
To learn about Quick Jobs, call 252-527-6223, extension 714, or enroll at lenoircc.edu/quickjobs.
KC Crop Insurance is another one of our sponsors here on the Neuse News Sports Show. Please give them a call if you need crop insurance. They are here to serve all of your crop insurance needs with more than 50 years of combined experience. They take pride in excellent customer service.
So give the KC Crop Insurance team a call at 252-522-9613. That's 252-522-9613. And tell them the Neuse News sent you.
Absolutely. And then don't forget about the Neuse Newsletter. The Neuse Newsletter every morning at 7 a.m. You can find out what Junior Smith III has been doing the previous 24 hours because he's going to have 4 or 5 stories up there. Be sure to check that out. And how do they get the Neuse Newsletter?
All you have to do is go to neusenews.com, hit that subscribe button, and you'll have an email at 7 a.m.
Absolutely. Listen, we cannot do this show without Dr. Travis Town. Put the camera on them. Look, he's got a Washington Nationals hat, too, going on.
And
that is Najee Cobb. He's a North Lenoir class of 2011. He said he didn't play football, but he wishes he would have. Isn't that right, Najee? Absolutely.
He said, yeah.
And I got to tell you, North Lenoir has not had the historic season they've had until Najee Cobb started working here on the Neuse News Sports Show. So you know what? It's not because of Jim Collins. It's because of Najee Cobb, okay?
Yeah, you know what? Najee is y'all good luck charm. You better cherish him.
Very good. But thank you again, Dr. Town and Najee Cobb. Also to BJ Murphy, Aletha Thrower, and Brandon Potter. Don't forget, this Friday night, use hashtag Neuse News Scores. You don't even I'd like you to follow me, BC Hanks on Twitter, and you are
Junior Smith III.
Absolutely, but you don't even have to do that. Just use hashtag Neuse News Scores. You can find out about all the games that are going on this week. And listen, support the Nationals. Let's go Nats. Finish the fight. Thank you so much for watching the Neuse News Sports Show. We'll be back here next week here on your favorite Facebook Live feed, the Neuse News Sports Show. Thank you so much to Junior Smith III. We'll see you next week.